So, I'm Samantha Calabretta, or Sami, and this is Detra Herrman. Alright, I guess I'll start. My first question is, how would you describe your job and like the industry that you're in with the flowers and stuff?
I would describe it as very much a small business, a locally owned business, but also it is a side business for me, and it's a kind of a supplemental income for myself and my family.
Okay, so you like run it and you kind of like do all the things for it, like you manage it all?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I manage the seed growing, the planting, the cultivating, the harvesting, and then I also manage the sales portion, kind of the sales portion side of it too, and selling my flowers and getting out into the community and making my name and my brand, making a name and a brand for myself in the community.
Okay. And then what would you say like a typical day would look like? Maybe after you do your full-time job, what are your tasks look like?
Oh, totally. So on a weekly basis, I'm always out here harvesting flowers. I'm always checking on the flowers, netting them. It kind of goes in phases. In the springtime, it's a heavy planting. It even starts back in the winter to start seeds, to order and start and plan my garden and the types of flowers and varieties that I need and that I want for the season. And then the springtime would be planting, so I would always be out here laying rows and plotting out my gardens, and then planting the flowers, planting the little starts, letting them continue to grow up, making sure they're well watered and kind of in the beginning of the summer, and then starting to harvest off of them in the summer and into the fall. And then coming up in a couple months, I guess, when frost hits, then it's a different kind. It looks differently because then I start to put everything to bed, if you will, and start to fall plant bulbs, tulips, things that I want to bloom again for the following spring.
Okay, all right. So then you would say this is like a part-time job, like a, I guess like a side income, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very much so.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh. That's funny. Okay. So what kind of education would you say would be necessary to like, I guess, start like a business, like the business part of it, but then also like learning how to grow the flowers? Like, what kind of education did you need for that?
Well, I'll say experience, just working experience, almost like an apprenticeship to start out and to learn things. But then for the business piece, there's a lot that goes into it. So from an entrepreneurial business acumen, from like an agronomy and knowing your soil and how to actually cultivate and plant, and the types of flowers that and species that are good for your climate and your growing zone. So I'd say definitely a degree, either a business degree or a floriculture, horticulture degree, to kind of get your basis. But then once you have your base degree, then comes the experience and kind of learning by trial and kind of learning by fire, making mistakes and not making the same mistakes twice.
Okay. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. And then how would you say that your job and your business impacts like people as well as like other, I guess like parts of agriculture? It's like the community and stuff.
Well, the main reason I grow all these flowers and have this side business is to ultimately bring joy to the community, and have a connection and kind of have my roots in the community. Community is big for me, and being a person where I can meet people and I can make an impact to our locals. Yeah. That's what really drives me to continue to do this every year after year.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay. For someone trying to like pursue a business or a job like in this sort of area, what could they expect to make like approximately? I'm not asking for like your exact income, but like approximately like compared like your, I guess, gross income and then the expenses that go into it.
Oh, I'm on a very small level.
Yeah.
I would say I make anywhere between Gross 10 and 15,000 a season,
Okay.
but the expenses that go into that are probably at least a third or a half
Yeah.
of the expenses. Now, I listen to podcasts and farms, successful big farms who are running a very efficient business. They can scale up to making six figures gross.
Okay.
But a lot of times when you're a business owner, sometimes you only account for part, or you're only able to pay for part of your time, your own time, and that's also having a 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 employees that are skilled and can really make the business work efficiently. But there are some podcasts that I listen to that, they advertise, hey, get your flower farm to make six figures, but that's not including the expenses nor the time or the hard work, and that's working 10, 12-hour days.
Oh, wow.
5, 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
Or 5 to 6 times a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's interesting. Oh wait. Well, I guess this isn't really on there, but like employees, like you said, you do everything, and like you don't really like hire anyone besides like I guess your husband to do the stuff there. But
I do hire him.
Yeah. Do you hire like other people though, like anyone?
Up until recently, I've always had almost like a high schooler.
Okay.
Someone who just wants to come and learn, can put a couple hours in 2, 3, 4 days a week.
Okay.
That's always been helpful, super helpful for me, and they're kind of paid under the table. But other than that, I don't really have employees. I try to do a lot of it, because then that also cuts down on my expenses.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. And then this is my last question.
Sure.
What advice do you have for someone that would be trying to pursue a business in this field?
My advice would be to get out and make sure you enjoy it, like experience it. Maybe, like I said, like an apprentice, or start to get some kind of partner with someone who's already doing it, and go to work for them to make sure that you like it or love it, because it is a lot of hard work. You get dirty. It's a lot with your hands. And digging and cultivating, and there's a lot of frustrations, but it's also very rewarding. So get with someone and kind of learn, start learning, and then go. I would really urge you to go to either a 2 or 4 year school where you can get a sense of business, because on the back end of it, it's a lot of numbers, right? So you have to make sure that your expenses, your income is outweighing your expenses, and then you're actually making a profit. So have that business base, and then go out and some horticulture, agronomy, knowing your soils. That's always helpful too. So
We were learning that in our class. I also guess I wanted to ask you, like, your husband was talking in class about how some people have like their business on their property, and their like business almost like, I don't know, like pays for their house. Like, is your like land and stuff included like in your business at all? If you're comfortable with me asking that.
Well, so it's included. I would say you could get to a point where it would pay for itself, but we are at, and maybe this will help answer your question, we are at an advantage because we already own the property, whereas some flower farms and even some farms have to rent ground, which is an additional expense. And so that's just one more thing you have to pay for, whereas, if you buy a home that has a little bit of, a couple acres or a small plot, that's something where you can make just a little bit more money or profit off of it versus, having to rent, or even the expense of getting in your car and gas and fuel to travel a couple miles to almost another base or campus where the flowers of your farm are. So.
Yeah. And more questions keep coming
No,
up.
please.
So I saw on your Instagram you said a lot about like you sell flowers to like bouquets and stuff like that, but like, do you sell it to more like companies, or do you sell to like individual people? Like, could someone come and like message you on Instagram and say like, oh hey, like, can I have a bouquet of flowers, or like, how does that, like, who do you sell to, I guess?
Who do I sell to? So I actually I sell already pre-wrapped bouquets. So I make the bouquet and then wrap them. I sell it to Winterthur, and they actually sell my bouquets in their store.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun. I knew a person who knew a person, and they wanted to partner with me, which I'm very thankful for. So you can, or I'm in Winterthur, and then I have what's called a CSA program, Community Supported Agriculture.
Okay.
And it's almost like a subscription or a share program where people buy in at the beginning of the season, which helped me with my startup costs for the season. So they purchase ahead of time, and then with that purchase, they receive a certain number of bouquets. Like I have a monthly CSA. So April to May would be tulips. June would be early summer flowers. I skip July because of a lot of vacations. And then August are kind of the warmer tones, and then September are mostly dahlias because dahlias are definitely a fan favorite.
Yeah.
So, but yes, if someone wanted to on Instagram, if you wanted a bouquet, give me a day or two and message me and say, hey. I get that a lot in the springtime with the dance school dances, but then also Mother's Day and all that. I have a lot of really pretty colorful tulips, and coming out of wintertime and into the spring, everyone wants real lush, colorful, bright tulips to help brighten their days. So I do get a lot of that one-off, like, hey, do you have a bouquet? So I do that. And then this past year, which was new, I actually did one small wedding for a family friend.
Oh, wait, I did see that. I didn't stalk you, but I just scrolled through a little bit.
Yeah. So I did that wedding, and then there was a gal who reached out to me twice, and I did flowers for. She first had a bridal shower, so I did flowers for her, jar arrangements, and then she reached out to me again later on, probably a couple months later, and she was hosting a baby shower, and she wanted flowers, so I did her baby shower arrangements. So that's I'm trying to grow, and maybe that's a part of my business that I'm going to work on growing, just doing smaller arrangements. I'm not ready to get into big weddings. That's a whole nother level with the stress and just the amount of stems and the time. But to do smaller arrangements and smaller events, I think I definitely want to move in that direction.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
It was great to meet you.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wait, I guess I'll stop this.